Hi guys.
Hello, welcome back.
Welcome back to another episode of the Sitting Down with the Sisters podcast. We are your hosts. I'm Temi.
I'm Ashley. As you can see, we've
got a special guest. Like, we're giving you guys guests.
Back to back.
No, for real.
We're giving you guys guests. We said this season we're coming with guests, and this is our third guest.
Yes.
Helen.
Hello.
Thank you for having
welcome.
me. I don't know where I'm
Do you want to
looking.
introduce yourself?
Any of them.
All of them. I'll go for this one. Hi, my name is Helen.
Tell us what you do.
I'm currently a student at the moment. I'm doing my postgrad.
Wow.
I'm in my second year studying genetic counselling.
Oh wow.
I'm an actress. I'm a worship leader.
Wow.
I am. What else do I do?
You do a lot.
I think that's about it.
Wow. Can I ask you what genetic counselling is?
It's basically helping people to understand how like genetic conditions can affect them and their families.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's informing them about like medical side of their condition, but also supporting them to make informed decisions.
Oh wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Same actually.
very
Neither had
interesting.
I. Neither had I.
Did you do like psychology first?
No, so my undergrad was in medical genetics. I wanted to be a paediatrician, but very quickly I decided that I don't think that's for me.
Yeah, but it was sort of like similar path because medical. And
Yeah.
Politics and now you're going
Yeah.
genetic counselling.
Yeah. We had like one lecture on it, but we weren't told that, genetic counselling is an option that you guys can go down.
Yeah. Was that always the plan? Then?
Genetic counselling?
Yeah.
So I overheard a conversation between a couple of like my classmates in my first year, and then I researched about it and I was like,
This sounds good.
why not?
Wow.
And then
That's
since
so
then I
cool.
was like, okay, let me do this.
Love
That's
that.
so cool because I feel like it really puts the psychology bit and the medical bit together, and then it
Yeah.
gives people like a full comprehensive view of like how they're doing.
Yeah.
Which is
Definitely.
that's cool.
So how many years in total, like, are you...
Studying.
Yeah.
It's 3 years in total.
Okay.
So
You're getting there.
yeah.
Yeah.
Almost there.
Almost there.
Almost
I'm
there.
tired.
Almost
Very
there. Once
tired.
you're done, you know at least that's it. But for now,
Yes.
you just got to ride it out, and yeah,
Yeah,
love
yeah.
that. Love that.
I love how she's in sync too.
Oh,
Oh my
black.
gosh, you got the memo with the all black. Honestly, you know what this reminds me of actually now? Do you remember when Toby came on the pod and he just said, so our last guest is American, and he said he noticed a few things about British people, and he said one of the things he noticed that we wear a lot of black.
Yeah.
Oh.
And I thought I did not argue. I was like, fair.
And he was right.
Look at us.
I've been so conscious that I'm like, I try to wear it, but I'm
I
like,
just
how
can't.
can I wear colour when
That I
the
don't
weather's
have. I
like-
don't even have it.
Like the bangs as well, dark colours.
Yeah.
You love a dark colour.
But it's also winter.
It's true.
Yeah.
What are we supposed to
Do
wear?
you know what I mean?
What
If
are we
I
supposed to
rocked
wear?
up, well, I wore orange to church yesterday.
Well, they
Okay.
But it goes
Yeah.
like-
But that's Sunday.
Yeah,
Sunday.
Sunday's
It's the day of
best.
rejoicing.
Sunday's best.
You're
Yeah.
right. It's very
But on
different.
like a Monday or Tuesday.
No.
It's not right.
It's not right. man.
Yeah.
We're fighting many other things. We just need to keep it.
not many other things. But
Yeah.
gosh.
But anyway, today, guys, we're going to be discussing the topic of being a traditional woman or traditional wife. And would you guys say that you would define yourselves as traditional women?
I
Or
thought you were going to say traditional wife. I was like, are we
We're
married?
not wives. So that's why I said traditional women versus wives.
What's a traditional
That's a
woman?
good question. I would say if I didn't Google it, I would say someone who holds to very traditional values.
Yeah,
So you
and
feel
views.
like the man is the main provider for your household. You will see yourself as more of the nurturer, the caregiver in the household. That kind of vibe. I'll look for something else. But I feel like that is what I would say is a traditional woman. Yeah.
What would you say, Ashley?
I would say, not even to just piggyback off of what I was said, but yeah, traditional women, I would define it as someone who holds very traditional views as well. Not just within her household, but even when it just comes to day-to-day stuff, when it comes
In
to
life,
work,
yes.
politics, like her spirituality as well, just how certain things are approached and addressed. Yeah, that's how I would define it.
Yeah.
What about you, Helen?
Yeah, no, I'll definitely agree. I think my definition stems from more like biblical principles, I guess you could say. And I wonder whether the definition of a traditional woman or traditional wife stems from biblical values to begin with. as for me, whether or not I think I'm a traditional woman, I'm not sure. I think, based on my understanding, perhaps.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. And I think based on my upbringing as well, I'm a middle child. So I haven't really had the responsibility of kind of, I don't want to say fending for myself.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Okay. I think I agree with every point that we've made, that everyone has made. I think a traditional woman definitely operates from a place of gender roles. Like, she highly believes in gender roles. A woman's job is this, a man's job is this. Yeah, would I say I'm a traditional woman? Oh gosh, that's a lot to unpack, because I think it's very subjective. Some people might say no, especially with our generation, a lot of our mindsets have changed in a lot of things. So I can't say yes or no, but as Helen said, I feel like my upbringing and just my views on a lot of things are traditional. And there are other things like growing up that maybe our parents thought were traditional, but growing up our mindsets have changed for the better and evolved for the better. I think it's for the better, because and don't get it twisted, not to say some traditional values are not things to uphold and pass on to our children, but I think there's certain things where if we look at our parents' generation, it's like, I'm not taking that on. Do you know what I mean? I'm not passing that on.
So before I say whether I am, okay, this is what Gemini AI says. A woman who embraces traditional gender roles, like you said, and marriage. She focuses on homemaking and supporting her husband. She raises the kids, cooks and keeps the house clean. She embodies traditional femininity and female gender roles. She may choose to leave her career to focus on meeting her family's needs in the home. Now, as me, Ayo, do you know what? I think I'm a traditional woman in a lot of senses, but then in a lot of other senses, no. So in the sense of marriage, my home, I can see that for me, because my dream has always been to be a stay-at-home mom. So in that regard, like, yes. But then in the regard of like embracing traditional femininity, I feel like the way, I don't think I dress very girly. Like, I wouldn't say I'm very feminine in that way. I think I'm very like myself. I also think the way I articulate myself and carry myself, some people would call that assertive or like dominant. You know, I don't think it takes away from my femininity. I just think it's different, because I think the connotations with femininity are you're soft, quiet, I don't think I'm soft. I don't think I'm soft. I think I'm a very like lovable, but I think I'm also very like straightforward. So, you know,
I agree with what you said about it doesn't take away from your femininity. You're still, it's just different. Femininity comes in different forms.
It just looks different.
You can't look at a person because of certain traits that you've mentioned and say you're not feminine, you know. But some would say you're not,
it's
not very ladylike.
Energy.
It's so true. I feel like people have already made up in their heads of what femininity should look like. Like, you should be wearing a flowy dress, heels, your hair should be silk pressed, it should, you know, stuff like that. Like, it's very like heavily based on appearance. So I love that you touched on that, because that's so interesting.
And I feel like femininity, as much as people think it's appearance, I really think it starts inside.
100%.
Because I feel like Jackie Hill Perry, everybody knows that's one of my favorite people. She is a woman, but people always criticize her because of how she dresses. But I also think people criticize her because of her testimony. I think that like plays a role in it. But I think it's because she doesn't carry herself as like the typical like girly girl. Like she dresses how she wants to dress, and I think that doesn't take anything away, like we're saying, from her being a woman, because I think being a woman is deeper than your aesthetic, like how you look as a person. But leading on from that, there's been a trend, I'm sure everybody's seen it on TikTok and Instagram and everything, about like women going up to their husbands and being like, babe, I can't pay the rent this month, and then the whole discourse of, but you don't pay anyway. That is and men being the providers, and some people have taken it and thought that the trend is a bit like ill, because they're like, in this cost of living crisis, women should be equally like contributing to their household. And other people are like, yes.
Are you watching and you're still not subscribed? Hit that button right now.
That's not my job.
As it should be.
That is not my job.
So as women on the... Yes.
Sorry. Before we move, I just want to ask everyone a question. I think you already answered, but the idea of a stay-at-home wife, who's on board with that?
Do you know what? If you asked me this 2-3 years ago, I think I would have been like, oh, you know, actually, but sorry guys, that was cap. And it's like what we said earlier, if you know my husband is making a substantial amount of money and he's telling me that, babe, you don't have to go to work,
you're not going.
I'm handing in my notice. I'm not working my notice. I'm letting them know I'm leaving.
Quit on the spot, man.
And that's it.
Effective immediately.
That's what they're doing.
Let me walk out of
Effective
here
immediately. That's it.
And I will be bold enough to say, I think most women, all of you lot watching, that most of you, if your man made a certain amount of money, most of you would be happy to stay at home. That's my own personal opinion.
I was gonna say
I would be
that.
surprised, but I actually think at the deepest, this is me, Ayo. I'm not saying this is the people. This is Ayo's opinion. I think most women at their core want to be looked after.
Right.
Sorry, not sorry. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Can I ask a follow-up question? What does staying at home entail? Does that mean you only look after the affairs of the house, or can it still be you can be an entrepreneur?
Of course,
it
can be whatever you want it to be.
Some people, when they hear that, they think the only thing is you just take care of the house,
Exactly.
you cook, you raise your kids, and that is it.
And I think that's
like
the
because I've had conversations with some men, and they're like, I don't want her to even like have her own business. Like I just want her to worry about our family, the children. But then there's also the flip side of, oh, I'm okay if she wants to start her own business. So that's why I'm asking, like, what are we? How are we defining that?
For me, it looks like whatever I want it to look like. If in one season I'm not working, I'm not working. But then if in another season, no, because I'm telling my truth.
What's the next
but then in
season?
another season, because I feel like when you have, because me, the reason I want to be a stay-at-home mum is because I think children they deserve active parents,
Right.
And so that's my reasoning.
Right.
So when I have children, I see myself being less focused on my career because bringing them up is more important to me.
Yeah.
But before that, if by God's grace I'm blessed with a scenario where I don't need to be outside in the cold, I see myself pouring myself into like the things and the ideas and creativity that God has given me, because that's, a lot of the stuff I do is I don't need to be working for somebody to do it. So that's why I feel like it could work for me. I could work for myself, and also be, sat.
Yeah.
What about you guys?
Right. I was gonna ask Helen. Is that always been the idea for you, or is it something that, like Ashley said, if you asked her 3 years ago, she would have been like, "No, I'm working." But has that always been what you wanted, or what did that ever?
I think it's been something I've always wanted because of what I've wanted to do with my life.
Right.
I can do it part-time. I can do it on and off. Whereas if I was someone that wanted to be a doctor or be like a lawyer or be in finance or something like that, with genetic counselling you could do it like part-time. With acting you can do it like here and there, on and off type of thing. I feel like it's important for at least one parent to be like active, to be at home full-time. I'm not against like stay-at-home dads and stuff, and if it was a thing where I was making more and the career that I was in, I couldn't take that time off, then I'd be, no. Let me not say that. I guess because it's always been something that I've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've just, I feel like you were saying, I feel like it starts from within, and within, like, I feel like I've always been like a motherly person, a nurturer. So yeah, I have to be at home.
Yeah.
I feel like with me,
I know what you're gonna say.
No, I feel like my idea of it has changed over the years because I got the understanding of being a stay-at-home mum is what you make it. Do you know what I mean?
Before you thought it was one way.
Yeah, because that's what I was led to believe through conversation, speaking with people. That's how it's been presented to me, or when you're a stay-at-home mum. But the older I got, the more understanding I had of what being a stay-at-home mum is, and it's not easy. First of all, it's not easy. It's hard work because just because you're sat at home and it seems like you're just looking after the kids, there's more to it. Of course, it's what you make it, but for the most part, there is more to it. You're not lazy. You're not doing. You're not doing nothing. Exactly. So, I am open to the idea more than I ever have been. I am definitely open to the idea, but. I always say this, like, as long as we are fine,
right?
Like, I'm a type of person, I will step up if I have to, but as long as we're fine and there isn't like a financial burden, does that make sense?
100% agree.
As long as there's no, because I think it leads perfectly into the discussion, because as long as you know, my husband is not struggling and I'm just sat there doing nothing. It's not in my nature. I will have to step up and play my
I was going
part.
to add that as a caveat to mine, because I've said this as well in my relationship. I've said, like, I don't think it's right personally if I see that this is too much for him and I'm there at home. So that's my only caveat, because before people make it sound like it's something else. But like if it was that, like Tem said, I would definitely be working too in a way that would make sense for the financial stability of the household, because we all want comfortable households. We don't want to just be
exactly.
But yeah, if I don't have to listen.
Sorry, I have a you go.
But you haven't answered for yourself yet.
I did.
But you said it first. Oh yeah, sorry.
Did I answer?
Because I couldn't remember.
I have a follow-up question then on, because I feel like each of you touched on it, that, you know, if, you know, like in terms of stay-at-home dads, and if you were the breadwinner, and you know, if you were to help him. So do you think that then takes away from being a traditional woman or traditional wife if you're either the breadwinner or you're having to step up to help out?
I don't want to be the breadwinner.
No, but I'm saying, what if,
so that's what I'm
what
saying.
if it just happens that
I am?
You are. Do you think that takes away from being a
Because sometimes you don't choose to be the breadwinner.
Sometimes you don't choose, which is true.
By definition.
I think in you know what, that's a great question.
No, it's true.
That's a great question. I think it does. Slightly,
it takes away,
because if we're gonna be traditional, there's a hierarchy, and it's not a hierarchy of like top down as in condescension. It's more hierarchy of he's the provider, he's the leader. Do you know what I mean? There's order. So in that regard, the woman then being that person, because but then it depends how you view it though, because I feel like men only see providing as financial, and providing is a lot deeper than that, in my opinion.
100%.
Because you could give me all the money in the world, but if you're not present actively as an emotional husband for me, then you're not really providing me. You're actually giving me stress. Do you know what I mean? And I want peace in my home. I also want someone that's like emotionally available, but apart from you provide like safety, you provide a lot of other things, not just one thing, because financial bit is great and it makes the house run, but apart from that, you're not just because at that point you're like a direct debit, and that's it.
It's true.
So then that's why I said then it kind of flips it for me, because then if I am like the breadwinner and I'm bringing the money but you're still providing and you're being a leader, I feel like I can still respect you as the leader of my household.
Of course,
I don't know if a lot of women could. I actually don't think a lot of women can respect men that they make more money than. That's my opinion. That's Ayo's opinion. Once again, Ayo's opinion. Just because I hear how people speak about men and money and stuff a lot, and I'm like, that then just tells me that if you made more money than a man and you were with him, you'd look at him different. That's my opinion.
And I feel like that again, it goes in perfectly into that trend of, because it was about like, it was a financial discussion about I can't afford rent, you know, this, that, and I think with everything on the internet, I'm a big believer there's a narrative. There's a narrative, and I feel like with that trend there was a narrative, there was a point trying to be made where men are financial leaders, you know, and they provide for the house, you know, things like that. So another woman made a video contrary to, or in response to that trend, just saying women, like especially women that are not married, like it's so important first of all to know that social media is not real life. Please take that on board. And second of all, not everyone's able to participate in that trend, and that's fine. That's fine. If let's say in your household 50-50 is working and it's making sense, don't let the internet make it seem like your relationship is a failure. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%.
Or whoever isn't doing enough.
You know,
100%.
So I think that if anything, that's sort of the wider conversation in like sort of that financial aspects, like what is that trend trying to say basically? Like, is that trend trying to like the point we all made earlier when we were speaking about just the housewife situation? If your husband is unable to financially provide or provide in other ways, as a woman, are you stepping up? I personally feel like that's a traditional woman.
You're a team, because you're a team.
You're a team player.
You're not.
That's a traditional woman.
Because if you see he's struggling and you don't, you essentially want your team to fail.
And we fortunately you know, we all come from 2-parent households.
That's grace.
You know, we've grown up seeing lots of different things our parents have gone through, regardless of how young we were, whether they think we've seen it or not. And that shapes our perspective on how we want our marriages to look, in good and bad ways. Do you get what I mean?
100%.
So I can speak for my parents and say, like, one thing I am happy about, that I am 100% going to take into my marriage, is that teamwork aspect of things, where if one person is a bit low, unable to do it, the next person will pick it up regardless of gender. Do you know what I'm saying? So is that the narrative that's out there right now with our generation, or is that lost?
It's not, it's lost. Because I think a lot of women will see a man squandering in his, like, and he'll be getting depressed and they'll walk away.
What do you think, Helen?
I think that is true, but also the opposite is true, in the sense of a man will happily allow his wife or partner to be a stay-at-home mom, to look after everything, he's providing everything, but then he uses that against her to say that the lights, you see them,
I keep the lights on,
and if I take care with it, there's nothing you're gonna do about it. There's that exactly 100%,
and that is scary to fathom, especially being someone that is like, for a period of my life, I do want to be able to be at home, and knowing that, okay, like you were saying, you know, the financial provision is equal to the everything that's happening, like emotional support at home and everything else. Do
you know what I think as well? A lot of people are lying.
Speak on it, babes.
I think they're going by the majority of, oh, you know, people have these views and they're seeing it and they're like, yeah, me too, like that's what I want. Like, I can't be with someone that doesn't make more than me, or if they don't make more than me, I'm walking away, I can't do it, he should be. So
lies.
Because if you look at like their own personal situations, you two, you've done 50-50 as boyfriend and girlfriend. You've loaned someone money that you weren't in a relationship with. Like, stuff like that is, and I'm not saying that's everyone, but I'm saying just stuff like that is what shows that, you know, when you do eventually get married, there's no way you're gonna see your husband. This is someone that you love. This isn't just a random person that, you know, you're just hooking up with. This is for better or for worse. This is someone that you made a covenant with before the Lord. And coming from a Christian perspective, we know that marriage is not a joke. It's a covenant that you are to uphold and take serious responsibility and duty to. So there's no way you being in that position, knowing the covenant of that marriage and what it means, that you're going to sit back and be like, well, you know, the social media and TikTok said that the man should pay more and have more and should take care of all the bills, so I shouldn't do anything. There is no way you're going to see that and not hell.
I can't fathom.
That's just lazy.
Again, you see, you know me.
Let's be real.
No,
as much as you guys probably, people in the comments will probably see me and think, Tammy, you really bash social media for someone that's on it quite a lot. Yes, I do. Let me be so real. I hate social media sometimes.
You can.
Because it's like, it's not real, guys, please. And I feel like there's a lot of children on there that are just so impressionable, and they will see those things, and you're starting to see it in younger kids, like 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds. It's like their man has to take me to Hakkasan or provide this if he doesn't. It's so dangerous. And I just feel like, and forget children, even grown adults like us still have that perspective.
All of us, 20 plus.
So
listen, do you know what the craziest thing is? Yeah, because because it's really
calm, to be honest.
It's really tight, because I feel like a lot of what you're saying is so true, because I feel like there's a lot of pressure put on men, but the support that they need is not there. So say for instance, you want this man, but then you don't live in a society that's building up men to be the man you want. You don't like positively contribute to the conversations around how to make these men the men that you want, but you're the first person to bash them because they don't have the money that you want them to have. So what does that mean?
That's so true.
Like, think about like what you guys said about marriage. Like, if you're coming from, especially because we come from the Christian perspective, it's oneness, so you're actually the same person. In quotes, you're not, but you are at the same time. What affects them affects you. So if anything is to happen, it's both of you's decision to take care of it. It's not one of you's decision. And I personally think being a traditional woman is seeing where you know, you're help me, and that word in the Bible is not like a subservient, like you're like stepped on top of,
or less than.
The only other person that was described as that in the Bible was Jesus, somebody that came and met the needs of other people. So if you can see that your husband needs that from you, that's what women, I personally think women were made for something that is deeper than people realize. Because what we bring to anybody's life, like is almost like there's a revitalization that comes into the mix, but a lot of women, unfortunately, you're using your power to do bad things.
You're being a bad girl.
You're being a naughty girl. But yeah, that's I'm just like, and it's scary actually, because I think a lot of women are scared to say they would be traditional women, like you did say actually, because they are afraid that if they were to entrust a man with that responsibility for them, that they're going to throw it in their face or they're not going to live up to it or whatever.
And do you know what? Funny enough, again, that was part of growing up where my perspective also came from. Now that we're having a conversation, that realization is coming in. Yeah. And being a first-born daughter in an African household, it comes with a lot.
Hello, hi.
Wow. Let's talk about it quickly.
Yes.
And I feel like
it's not easy.
I'm so sorry.
It's not easy.
Girls, when I tell you that level of hyper dependence is almost toxic.
It's dangerous.
Like, it's dangerous because you feel like you cannot trust anyone. I'm gonna be so honest. And when I say trust anyone, not as if like your loved ones or you can't have a level of trust, but it's to the point sometimes where by God's grace, again, a relationship with God just changes everything. And I feel like the closer I'm getting to God, the more that things are leveling up for me. I'm not on the extreme, or I'm not sort of, you know, my point of view is very, not moderate, neutral, but moderate. Exactly. I'm seeing life from a different perspective now. But back then, that contributed to why, you know, being a housewife was just insane to me, because I just thought, how can you depend? Like I felt like I've had to be independent growing up. Not as if there weren't help or support, because my parents did an amazing job raising me and my brother, and you know, if we needed things we went to them, of course, but I still felt a level of dependence that I had to have in terms of I can't take from I had to be good. I always like,
so it's trusting that in someone else. It's almost
like even the idea of like guys, I'm not even kidding with you, even the idea of asking men for money is
no, let's speak on it.
Why
did you read my mind?
No, do you remember, I don't know if you've seen the Tony Tone video. She was talking about, and funny enough, she's a firstborn daughter, and she was like, bear with us. It's not coming from a prideful place. It's not like I'm trying to be prideful, but I'm like, I've never. That's not been my experience to do that, and
I've sent money back.
Yeah.
I'm so done. Like, I had to make it personal because
I just reject the help. I reject the help.
Like it's a defense mechanism.
Like I'm good.
All this while I've been fine. Like I've been looking after me because I've been looking after me and them. I've been looking after everyone.
Everyone.
And then you come in and you're trying to make my life easier.
And I'm like, sorry, hold on.
Who are you?
What's going on here?
Hold on.
So that's where that whole the housewife thing came up, because I'm just like, I cannot. Like, especially because I also used other like factors to just add to it, and everything was just making sense. I thought, I went to university, I've got a postgrad degree. Sorry, I'm not doing that. But the older I'm getting, again, like you get to that place with God where you sit down and you reflect. You're naked, because at the end of the day, He sees every part of you, and He knows the things that you need to work on. And you say, you know, if you're self-aware enough, you tell Him even like, God, I'm struggling with this. And that, I'll be honest, that was one of my biggest struggles, like till date, where I was just like trying to understand like it's okay to get help. Do you know what I'm saying? It's to ask for help, or just allow someone to take care of you.
Even in our relationship with God, it manifests too, because
people don't realize it seeps into that.
It actually starts from there, because that's where the dysfunction starts. When you can't depend on God, you can't. It just translates to everything else in your life. Yeah, and that's so true.
And do you know what's so funny? Like, again, to add to what you just said and what we're speaking about, like in terms of giving love and giving help, it's so easy.
We do it like this.
Free flowing. Like, I'm so quick.
It's
what?
normal.
Like, I remember the other day, my dad was just saying some nice things about me out of nowhere. Like, I don't know, we're just having a conversation, and one of the things one of the only, because my dad doesn't speak a lot, one of the only things he did say, and it made me realize like I'm just a naturally giving person. He was just like, tell me, like, you're just naturally giving, you just want to help people, you just want to help people. And whilst obviously in the back of my head I probably knew that, it was good to be reminded. But again, it leads to the conversation of I'm just so free, we're just free to give, but to receive is a struggle. So that's why being again, to add to the point, being a stay-at-home mom was just I didn't know, I didn't understand it. But by God's grace, with understanding, with patience, it's like I get it now. I will absolutely do it. And that's again God working. And just as long as it's being done in the right way and not a toxic way, like you said, Helen, all fine.
I feel like, this is such a beautiful conversation, because I feel like where you see a big fight against something, like I think there's a big fight against women being traditional. I feel like there's a lot of, oh no, hyper independence, you need to be this, you need to be that, you need to be all of these things. Where you see a fight against things, usually it's because it's like a good thing. So there's a fight against a nuclear family at the moment. There's a fight against a lot of things that are for the advancement of humanity, for the betterment of humanity. Where you see things like that, you should be worried. I think I don't know, maybe that's why I'm a conspiracy theorist, because genuinely, like, when you start to see people acting weird again about something that's always existed, by the way, being a traditional stay-at-home wife has always existed. It was never a thing. Nothing new. And there has been oppressive versions of it. No one is saying that's not true. But there have been so many thriving examples of it for years, but nobody speaks about that. And I personally think, when you see it done so beautifully, most women would want that. I've seen it. When I see it, and I'm just like,
because it's in our nature.
Do you understand?
It's a part of womanhood.
And some people might think what we're saying is very primitive and like you're not progressive in the way you're thinking. No, I just think we have our own opinions. Do you know what I mean? Like, like we can have this opinion and be firm in what we're saying, and we're not brainwashed because it's not because we're Christians. It's not because, do you know what I mean? Because I've heard people say, anyway, people be thinking Christians don't know things. I'm like, no, we read. And it's not just the Bible that we read, but we read the Bible, which is actually the best book to read.
Right.
But that's
everything
separate.
is spiritual. It's not just, like you said as well, when you're seeing an attack against certain things, it's not just, it's just there because it's there. And because people hold that certain view, or because people have that certain opinion. No, it's there because you're seeing that people want to specifically move people away from God's order. Like there is an attack on that. And so that's a whole other conversation. People love to, but Christians, like,
because they be saying we don't read.
But and I think
okay.
But anyway, that's a whole other conversation. But it's like what you said earlier as well. I think because people that are not seeing good and healthy examples of it, that it would be ignorant of us as well to not acknowledge that yes, there have been oppressive
100%.
examples, and you've seen people take advantage and manipulate it and misconstrue it in a way that it isn't supposed to be. I genuinely believe that traditional wife conversation and household, if it's not done God's way, it's not the right way. Point blank, period.
That's it.
And yes, we have seen horrible examples of people who say they are Christians or they believe in God and they take advantage and they manipulate, which is very sad, but it doesn't take away from the fact that what God intended is still good. Right. It doesn't take away from that. Sorry to tell you, sorry, not sorry.
Lich.
So,
what's even crazy about it? Because the revelation that I got as you guys were speaking, as everybody was speaking, is like the levels that it takes, the levels of vulnerability and dependence on God it takes to be a traditional woman in that sense are immense. Hence why when it's perverted, which is when people oppress it or whatever they do, that's why it has it's so loud because it takes a level of vulnerability for women to be like, you know what, I'm going to entrust that you're going to look after me and everything that we've got going on, you're going to look after that. And it's not to say you're not doing anything, but it just takes a level of vulnerability, and that's what it takes. It's like the same with Christ, because what is marriage? A mirror of Christ in the church. It takes a certain level of vulnerability for us to say to Jesus, so you're going to take care of me and actually look after every single part of my life.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, it's all a mirror. If we want to talk about it to the base, like that's why I'm like, this conversation, whether you think we don't read or not, look at the way humans were created. I just think, look at the way we were created, first of all, and you'll just see certain things. You'll notice certain things. You just can't argue with certain things. It's just there.
I think it also adds to the point of the I think in one of our previous episodes when we spoke about marriage, the way you described it was so beautiful, and you said some people run away from marriage because they don't understand the true meaning of it or how it's supposed to be. Once you understand, and the only way you can understand is through God, first of all. Once you understand why things exist, it will be very hard for other people, humans, to destroy that or intervene in that, and then that's where our minds get polluted, and that's where we see bad examples, and we're like, oh, I don't do that, I don't want to do that. But once you understand, this is again very important to read, when you do your own research, your independent learning, and you understand where things have come from, it's not so bad. Origin. You know, it's not so bad.
That's that on that.
But any final comments, yo?
Any final comments, Helen? Sorry. We've been chatting.
We've been rambling.
No, I'm just taking it in. It's so good.
Well, I really enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, same.
Definitely, it's been a good episode. But where can we find you though, Helen? Tell us a little bit about.
Not don't find me.
I'm on and off social media. My Instagram, helen.ajayi. Maybe I'll be online, maybe not. I'm not really always on social media, but yeah.
Lovely.
It was lovely to have you.
Honestly, thank you for coming on. Her details will be in the description box down below. Comment down below as well, guys. We want to hear your thoughts. Again, let's keep it respectful.
Let's keep it cute.
Keep it demure. Keep it
for real.
And we'll see you in 2025.
We'll see you in the new year. Wow. Bye,
Last episode of the year. Bye.